Welcome to the first Spotlight podcast of the ACPM. The ACPM is the Association of Construction Project Managers. It is a voluntary association officially established in 1998. It is accredited by the SACPM, which is a statutory body within the built environment, and SACPM stands for the South African Council for Project and Construction Project Managers. So what we do as the voluntary association or as the ACPM, we are looking at the interests of our members. And when you look at our registration, without having to go on length, because that you can find on our website, which is www.acpm.co.za. So we register individual members. So it is individual members that practice project and construction management, and there are various categories under the project and construction management. And we have a new category we'll be registering from 15th of May, which is a property development manager. So that is our new category. And then we also register corporates. Now with corporates, it is those company consulting firms that do project and construction management. So in a nutshell, that is what the ACPM is about. And these podcasts are there to highlight project management excellence that is done by both our individual and corporate members. So just to tell you more, just to give an overview, Anthony, can you just maybe give us an overview, of the type of projects that corporate members engage in?
Thank you, Nomvula. Our corporate members at the ACPM are highly esteemed consulting companies who work within South Africa and also across the African continent, and to some level, some of them also work outside of the African continent into your European countries and also your Australasia countries and so forth. So these are companies who practice the scope of works and also the idea of works that are deemed from the SACPCMP, as Nomvula mentioned. The projects range from what we'll call commercial projects in terms of your office-type buildings. So if you look at Sandton, the skyline in Sandton is what most of the corporates have managed as projects from foundation level to handing over to clients. They work within the industrial environmental sectors or warehousing, if you want to call it that way. Most of them are also involved with residential projects. We call automotive sectors as well. We have items of environment upgrades. We have the hospital and clinic environments, to name a few, hotel and leisure. So it's quite a variety of environments that bring livelihood to people. That is the business that our corporates are in, and they do it on behalf of clients or developers who want to establish these facilities for either financial gain or some on the public sector side, which is for basically public consumption. So in a nutshell, that is what our corporates do, Nomvula.
Okay, thanks, Anthony. We usually see the end product, but we do not know what goes behind the scene. And really, this podcast is about highlighting that and even talking to the construction project managers, that were in charge of the overall project. Now, before we even introduce our guest, we are so excited to have him today. Before we introduce our guest, I would just like to acknowledge our sponsor, which is Oxano 7. It is a company that is sponsoring this podcast today. So let's just quickly have a look at what they do. Thank you, Oxano. Once more, we want to express, our gratitude for you to partner with us, especially because it's the first. Thank you very much. And now, we are going to introduce our guest, the person that we are in conversation with. I am so excited on what he's going to share with us. So just a quick introduction about Mr. Mitchell. And the nice thing about introduction is not what you say about yourself, is what people say about you, because that's how they've experienced you. So just introducing our guest today. Our guest is Mr. Mitchell. He's the founder and current chairman of Mitchell to Plessis Projects, which we call MDA, and it is a corporate member of the ACPM since the ACPM started. So in introducing him, we see him as somebody that epitomizes excellence and unwavering commitment in the discipline of construction and project management. At a remarkable age of 87, Bev remains an integral corporate member, showcasing unparalleled dedication and passion for the construction project management profession. I remember visiting the offices, in Cape Town, the MDA offices, and we were there like from 10, and Mr. Mitchell was there until like 4 o'clock when everybody knocks off. So I am telling you. And then we are describing him as a living legend in construction and project management. And the reason why we say that, and you will hear later on, is that Mr. Mitchell's enduring legacy extends beyond his remarkable age. It embodies the spirit of resilience, expertise, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. And when we talk about excellence, you will even see when you look on our website, that excellence you can see because MDA is one of the corporates that have been winning the ACPM Excellence Awards. So it is we are so happy today to be having the conversation with Mr. Mitchell to hear about your exceptional contributions. So with that said, we are now ready to further engage, but let me just mention on a professional level, he is a distinguished member of several prestigious organizations, of course, starting with the ACPM, and then the SACPCMB, which is a South African Council of the Project and Construction Management Profession, and was really amongst the first to register as a professional those years because the council was established in 2000 and it started, its operations in 2002. So when you look at his registration, he was amongst the very first, he was registered as a professional construction manager in 2004 and he was number 113. I'm going to that level of detail to show that he was really amongst the first, but not only registered with those two from a project and construction management point of view, but also with the South African Association of Consulting Engineers, with the South African Institute of Civil Engineers, the British Institute of Civil Engineers, and the British Institute of Structural Engineers. And that is the person we are in conversation with today. So thank you, Bev. Thank you very much for affording us this time. And I'm sure that even those that are listening, there's quite a lot that they will learn. I'm quite excited on what we are going to have in this podcast. And of course, it's a conversation that will take further beyond this.
Thank you, Nomvula. Bev, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here. We are very grateful. We are thankful for your presence today, and I believe it's going to be an exciting show to tell the public about such a great individual. So without hogging the stage, I'm going to start the question. So the first question from my side is, can you please share some insights into the early years and how MDA came to be, please?
Thank you for that. Yes, I can certainly give you some information. The start of MDA was in 1979, and my involvement in project management started 15, 20 years before that. And the background fundamentally was the learning that I gathered through my early years was in working for a multidisciplinary management and design organization, ZAI in Durban. And that insight that I gathered over the period where I was operating as an engineer primarily, but eventually finding myself more and more getting involved in terms of organizing that projects actually managed through the management and design organization. They had all the skills individually, but they needed somebody to bring it all together. My background at that time was in learning the art of bringing things all together. So that was the start of the organization of MDA in 1979. And while it also had something of a start in terms of the multidisciplinary management and design that we inherited from the previous experience, but largely we focused on management, and eventually we settled, in fact, and focused entirely on management of projects. So the background is engineering, multidisciplinary, managing the multidisciplinary aspect, and then getting into a situation where you become the sole professional manager, and you have the task of bringing all of those skills, all of those disciplines together to making projects happen.
Okay.
That answer my...
Thank you so much, Bev. I see that there was a shift between you moving from Durban to Cape Town. Can you share some light on that specific situation where you had to relocate from Durban to Cape Town?
The background was that I had been involved with that organization in managing a project in Cape Town before all of that happened, and that what's happened now, and from that, the firm was given a project in Cape Town, in the center of Cape Town, and the old senior partner of that firm, a chap called Michael Zakshevsky, came to me and he said, "Listen, there's an opportunity in Cape Town. Are you interested?" And I said, "I'm there." So that started a business, or a branch business of that organization in Cape Town, which I ran for about 15 years. And basically it was on management and design skills, and ended up in 1979 when I left that organization and started MDA on its own, with a view to specializing in management. That's what we saw as our chief skills. And most of the staff members that I had working on my previous role eventually came and joined me in my new MDA role.
Thank you so much, Bev. Nomvula?
Exciting. Mr. Mitchell, what I really want to ask is, 1979, that's when MDA started. We are here today and still going strong. And obviously, MDA started even before there was the voluntary association, even before there was the statutory body. I'm now talking specifically construction project management. Can you just share with us, how did MDA establish its legacy in project management?
The hard way. Managing projects is not an easy game, but you've got to learn fast and you've got to be on your feet. And our focus was always on the end result. We had to do whatever was necessary to do to generate the end result that was required by the client. I'm not sure that I answered your question, but
No.
Our focus from the beginning was on controlling that bottom line. And it involved organizing the design side. And what I always say is making sure we've got horses for courses, selecting the individual organizations and specialists to get involved in projects was an absolute key opportunity. I answered your question. I can't.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Bev. Following to that, the industry evolves as we have it. Our industry is not static. So my follow-up question is, how have you seen the industry evolving over the years from when you started to where MDA is right now? If you can share some light, because we're talking close to 20 to 30 years period of the evolution. So if you can share some light in terms of your overview of the evolution that you have picked up so far. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the key move has been, let me go back, the era in the early 50s, early 50s, early 60s, in that era, the setup amongst design and construction opportunities in South Africa was very different from what it is today.
Okay.
Particularly contractors were highly skilled in package deal contracts where they employed the professions and they did the management in-house. And all of the large contractors were very strong in that field. We found that in the running a management and design professional consultancy at that time impinged on the status quo at that time, which was dominated by large contractors. So we moved into an era where the management skills were extracted from the construction side, because the arrangement was inherited in South Africa from what had happened overseas and developed countries. And so what we moved from a situation where the package deal contractor, I'm talking about large projects and large projects. We moved from the situation where the management was done by the construction group under some sort of contract, which was always very difficult to define. The situation changed from a main contractor dominant industry to an industry which separated the construction from the management and design. And the opportunity then arose for specialist management organizations such as MDA to get involved in the large projects at the expense of the package deal contractors. Although they still tried and they're still trying today to find opportunities for package deal construction, it's few and far between these days. Now that was the main change that's happened over those 30 years. Moved from large construction contract dominance to a situation where the management and design was separately identified and you could choose the right professions and the right specialists depending on the needs of the project.
Absolutely.
That was the skills that we developed in MDA, is to have a good knowledge of the local construction industry. We knew who the best guys were, even to the extent where you determine, whether you make sure not only have you appointed a contractor, but you appoint a particular team in that contracting organization. It was the right person for that, or the right skills for that particular assignment.
Thank you.
That was the big change.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Just also taking on to that, what would you say were your key learnings in terms of shaping your approach to project management, just now with the evolution that you've also then shared with us? But when you talk key learnings, I just mean overall, what has your key learnings be in terms of shaping your approach to project management?
Yeah, I need all day to answer that question.
We want the short version.
We want the short version. The short version.
Yeah. The key elements that we've always maintained in MDA are needed or necessary or essential in successfully managing projects is identification of the crucial variables in the particular project. So you've got a viability and you've got to identify what are the key variables and how can we control those variables. And to my mind, that still today is the key for successful management. Understanding the really important key issues, how they are affected and how you can mitigate possible difficulties arising out of non-performance. That's what it's about.
Okay, thank you. With that said, we will just like to pause and have a look at the type of projects that you have been involved in. We're obviously going to look at the most iconic. We know obviously from 1979 until 2024, there's quite a lot. So we're just going to look at a selected few, also going to Anthony's explanation earlier on that explains the type of projects that the corporate members are involved in. So let us just have a brief overview at the type of projects that MDA has been involved in, and we want to know the how, what makes them win. We'll now just quickly show the projects. It's not everything. We will be having the company profile, where you can learn more about these projects, where they are located, and obviously even to the website of MDA. There's so much more that you can still get from that.
Thank you, Nomvula. That was such a breath of fresh air to have seen the uniqueness and the extent of the size of projects that MDA has done. So, Bev, if we want to bring it a little bit forward, we know every company has some sort of secret. So we want to know what MDA's winning philosophy is. How do you do it differently from all your peers in the industry? Obviously, you've got some competitive companies in the industry who do similar work as you do, but what is MDA's winning philosophy?
I think classically it's making sure that we exceed the expectations of the client. We put a lot of emphasis in terms of identifying what are the key ingredients that are going to make the project successful, and what have we got to do to manage them and mitigate any potential problems that arise from them. Now, it's a simple game. If you can understand what are the important and vital issues, and you manage and control them, you have a successful project.
Thank you, Bev. I think it's sweet and short.
It's sweet and short. It's easy to say it. We never know what really goes on, behind the scene. But thank you for sharing that. Mr. Mitchell, can you also then tell us now, as the current chairman, having been with MDA, let us say it is your dream, it is your vision, it is you, and this is how far you've come. Can you just share with us what is the vision for the future? of MDA, first of all, and of project management, the way that you see it. And I'm asking that question, for those that are watching and thinking, here is an exemplary project management consulting firm, but what's the future? From your experience or from what you're seeing, what can you say with us? What is a vision, for the future of project management and MDA in general?
Yeah, that's really a $64,000 question. First and most important issue is to be able to attract the right staff. And you attract the right staff by the examples that you generate in the projects that you actually are managing. So we have a reputation that's come from the successful projects that we've been able to manage. And finding staff to supplement those services is a very important aspect. And we put a lot of time and effort into finding the right people. And we have found the right people and giving them the opportunities to express their skills and their challenges well in terms of delivering projects. So yeah, finding the right people is the first requirement. The second requirement, of course, and probably more important, is how do you find new projects? How do you get involved in procuring new work opportunities? And at MDA, we've had to put a lot of effort into how we express and expose MDA to the opportunities that are out there. And if you look at the example, for example, of the V&A Waterfront project, which is a project we've been involved in since 1989, I think it was, when we were first appointed, and we're still involved with them today. But that project had all of the ingredients that one has to deal with in projects. It was infrastructure, it was development projects, it was finding the money, it was helping the client understand the opportunities, and creating a legendary result, as I think is pretty well known now in terms of the project itself. And there's still more opportunities out there on that project.
So there is still a future for project management. Okay. You made an interesting statement, Mr. Mitchell. You said project managers must not make the mistake of attempting to play God. Can you just share with me what you mean by that?
I think the challenge always is that depending on the background of the individuals involved on projects, so you will have to deal with the challenges that come in managing and providing opportunities for those people. So I'm finding it just a bit tricky to put it succinctly into, but what you're trying to avoid is having selected individuals or organizations to provide a specialist service, to then not giving that organization the full opportunity to express their skills, and rather telling them how to do.
We just lost you a bit there, Mr. Mitchell.
Can you hear me now?
No, we lost you a bit. Can you just maybe repeat what you were saying?
You want the question? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
The question you asked is my statement that we must avoid trying to or allowing people to play God on projects.
Yes.
So really, it's what I was trying to explain is that you've got to give individual specialists that you put onto a project, I'm talking now about external organizations that provide specialist skills, architecture, quantity surveying, you name it, mechanical, electrical engineering. And you've got to choose the right people and give them the opportunity to perform. Rather than telling them what to do, you've got to let them use their skills to tell you how best they're going to tackle it. So that was the intention. Don't try and anticipate what they are going to do or tell them what they should be doing, but rather ask the question, what is the best way of resolving this issue? And give them the opportunity to express themselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Bev. I think that is extremely important. You speak about the external consultants. We obviously have the core consultants and also specialist consultants who give us a level of information to input into our design aspects. In saying that, MDA internally obviously has individuals or project managers or construction managers that perform the day-to-day role within the organization. I just wanted to ask from you, what is your secret ingredient in bringing the excellence out of those specific individuals who work within the MDA structure?
It's the point that I was trying to make earlier, that it's a horses for courses game. So once you understand what the need is in terms of the project, you've got to decide what skills you're going to need to bring to bear on it, and finding the right skills in the various disciplines is not an easy task. And it's one that requires lots of background knowledge of the industry in the local area you're talking to. But to instill in the staff within MDA that need to find the right disciplines, the right specialists for that particular project is a most important aspect.
Yes.
And then to give them the opportunity of performing to their best ability. Now, what you want to achieve at the end of the day is a mixed team of specialists in a team environment. And it's the skill of the project managers to create that team environment that allows each of those specialists to produce their best work and to be happy about it. We like to think that at the end of a project, if we've done our job well, all of those specialist guys are going to say, "Oh, that was a nice job to work on."
Exactly. Now, thank you for that. I think Nomvula has another one for you.
You know, just looking at the team, as will be displayed on the screen as well, your core team. It's interesting also to look at the expertise, even though that we see on the company profile, the expertise and also the compliance, you know, in terms of registration with the right statutory bodies as well. But my interest is, as chairman currently, are you working on a action plan based on the core team that you are having now? What are the things that you are doing in terms of looking at succession, in terms of the leadership that will take over to you? Who are you upskilling? Is there any deliberate attempt? How does it work in terms of, you know, having the legacy there for generations to come?
Not an easy answer to give you. We've come a long way in terms of staff. Currently, the organization is very much run by the people who manage it now. I'm the old man in this organization, and the young men that are there now, young men and women, have been carefully selected and put into an environment which they can be tested in terms of how they perform, and the opportunities from there is very clear. They can perform and do it well. There's a great future ahead for them. And
we're losing you again, Mr. Mitchell. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I got lost.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.
I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
No, I can hear you now. Thanks. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I was just trying to convey that the opportunities are there for staff in MDA currently, and a lot of them have got full responsibility for the organisation as it is today. But there are lots of opportunities going ahead in terms of the younger staff which we've got, which really have the opportunities in front of them for making sure that there is a satisfactory progression of knowledge and information in the organisation.
Okay. We're just looking also at your impressive portfolio, of your clients. I mean, you also mentioned, for example, Waterfront is a project that you started in the early 80s as well. But also looking at the diverse number of clients, even, beyond Cape Town itself, what can you say is the secret in ensuring that clients are satisfied with the work that is being delivered, looking at this impressive range of a selection of the clients of MDA?
Well, it's very simple. They come to us, and the reason they come to us is because we've done good work for them before. And the key on this, on success in the game that we're in, is doing the job well. And the repeat buyers of design and construction, which are many of the names you see on the board there now, they're the first to appreciate the skills and efforts that are available and come back to us time and time again.
Okay, lovely. So excellence makes you retain the client.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you, Bev. Having done your V&A waterfronts in the past, your Cape Town convention centers, and the big projects that you've done, we have in the industry now a flock of young professionals coming from the academic environment into the industry. We are finding there's a big gap from the transition from academia to industry, and would just like to know if you've got any advice that you can give the young professionals entering into mainstream industry.
If they're heading towards a management role, and it's a decision that you can make mistakes if you try and make a decision too early in your life. You need to acquire a knowledge of what goes on in the industry. Yes. My advice to young people thinking in terms of entering into the industry on the management side is to first become absolutely fully acquainted with the performance of the involved professions within it. Go and work for a year or 6 months with a firm of architects and show them what you can do in terms of how projects are managed within that office. It's a good challenge. And equally, in firms of quantities of others, go and work with them for 6 months and generate that knowledge so you can enter the management role industry fully informed in terms of what the components that go towards it. Work for a mechanical engineer, work for a structural engineer for a while, And they'll be very happy to take you on because there's a role you can play in their organization in the short term. But expand your knowledge. That's the key.
Thank you. So it's basically knowledge-based, find the experience, be diverse in your thinking, and then you'll be able to work your way into the management aspect of any consulting firm. Thank you, Bev. Just a follow-up. It has been a long journey for yourself at age 87. I just wanted to know, as currently, what is the purpose that as an individual you believe you have instilled in MDA, and also the contribution you have given to the world so far? If you can just give us that purpose.
Excellence, I think that comes to my mind.
Great.
Focused on doing things well.
Great.
And I think that has held us in good stead. People come back to us because of the fact that we've done something properly and well. Haven't always been totally successful, I must be honest, because sometimes we don't get it quite right. But the opportunities are there. And if you focus on trying to exceed the expectations of those that are involved, there's a great future ahead.
Thank you so much, Bev. I think that is the buzzword, excellence. If you're listening out there, the excellence comes from the second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, month to month, year to year. And I think it's a build-up to the future and the success of whatever it is you set yourself out to do. Nomvula?
No, I think I just would like to take this moment once again to thank our sponsor, Oxano 7, who saw it fit, to contribute and partner with the ACPM in the message that we are trying to convey, the message being project management excellence, because I think we have to understand what it takes to reach that excellence. But not only that, to also just put a spotlight on our individual members and our corporate members who are doing this work. And I think just for the community at large is to say, when you are at Waterfront, when you are at the Cape Convention Center, just knowing that, you once listened to this podcast where we were in conversation with Mr. Mitchell. So it's so nice to be even able to I think for me, that becomes so real when you are in the building and think, but I've heard the project manager that was responsible, for bringing this building to life, or the company that has brought this. It just makes it close. But the biggest being, we have the excellence in South Africa. We have the skills. We have the project management excellence skills, but the thing is then, how do we capacitate others? So the main intention also of this podcast is to say to the young professionals, we won't be able to tell you these stories one by one. Not everybody gets the chance to have the exposure to engage with the likes of Anthony Afordofe, with the likes of Mr. Michel. So let this platform then be our way of conveying that message to you. If you've got any questions, please put them on our Facebook pages. We will attempt to answer. And then with that said, please like our pages, follow us on Facebook, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us even on YouTube. This specific video will be available on Friday. And with that said, I'll give over to the president of the ACPM, Anthony Afordofe, to just thank Mr. Mitchell, who we've been in conversation with. And immediately after that, we are going to leave the contact details of MDA on the screen. The company profile will be available with the video on our YouTube channel. Please follow, like, and subscribe so that you can know who are the next people that we'll be in conversation with. We'll be running a series of those this whole year. By the time we finish, every building you look or every building you walk into, including a mall, you will be knowing which ACPM corporate was involved in that project.
Thank you, Nomvula. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you very much, Bev Mitchell, for taking an hour out of your busy schedule to have this conversation with us. We do not take it lightly. The ACPM is extremely grateful for this opportunity to share your thoughts and your mind and your experience with us. And to the community out there, we also want to thank you for logging in and listening to this podcast. As Nomvula has said, there's many more coming. Bev, it's been a pleasure. We love you. We love the work you've done. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Bev.
Thank you.
Thank you.